Good afternoon, students. Okay. Yeah. Now I think yeah. In yesterday's class we discussed about the exception handling and what is exception handling and why we are using and how to use and what are the syntaxes and what are the keywords. Okay. So we already discussed about the exception handling in the previous class. Now right, exception handling when if you want to maintain the program running without any complications. Okay, so when an exception is occurred in your program, it will the catch block will handle that errors properly. Okay, now today we will start the class with file input and output. Okay, let me share my screen first. Yeah. Okay, let me share the screen of this also. One second. Yeah, we share two screens now. Okay, and Eclipse and my. Okay. The screen visible, right? Second. Don't think it's visible to you or not. Good. Okay. Yesterday we discussed about all these things. Okay, exception handling, how the exception is working, and what is the syntax and everything. Now today we will discuss with the file input and output concept. Okay, file input and input and output in the Java. Okay, now Java provides like a flexible system for a file handling. Okay, like through we have the java.io and java.nio packages. Okay, where you can use these packages and you can what is actually file input and output. Okay, what is actually file input and output? File IO stands for okay, stands for file input and output. The file IO stands for file input and file output. Now it what it actually does means in a Java program to read the data from okay from a file or to write the data to the file stored in our disk, okay, we need file IO, file input and output. So when you want to read the data from the file or when you want to write the data from the file, you need to take the help of the file IO. So here we use the packages java.io and java.nio packages, okay, to perform these operations. So we have some classes, common IO classes in java.io. So let me write the definition first. It allow it allows the Java program to read data from and write data to file stored in stored on the disk. Okay. So it allows the Java program to read the data from and write the data to file stored on our disk. And we have it provides the classes. It provides the classes which are nothing but java.io and java.nio. Java.nio. Let me okay java.nio. Now we have some common classes in the java.io which are nothing but file reader, file writer, buffer writer, print writer, and scanner classes. Okay, so in java.io we have some classes. So now we will discuss with that files and what is actually the goal of the file IO is you know right, as I said, to read the data from the files like either text or the binary. Let me write it here. Read data from files. This is one of major goal. This is nothing but text or binary, human readable and computer. Now we need to write the data also. So write data to the files and we need to update or append or we want to change. So append or modify is the best word, I think. Yeah, modify file contents. Okay, and we want to perform operations to create the file, to delete the file, and to check the properties of that file. So we can use the file IO for these operations. Okay, perform operations like create, delete, and check and to see properties. Okay, to check the properties. Now we have the, as I said, we have the key classes. Okay, we have the key classes classes in the java.io. Okay, java.io package where you have to import all the this package to use the classes. Okay, java.io. Let me give the classes here first. Okay, classes. The classes are nothing but one class is a file. So this class will represents file or directory path names. Okay, we have the class and it will represents file or a directory. Okay, directory path name. And we have file reader. Okay, we have the file reader class which reads the file content, which read the file content as characters. Okay, okay, characters. So we have the file class which is represents a file or a directory path name, and we have the file reader class which will actually read the file content as a characters, and we have one more class known as a buffer reader which will wraps like a whatever the file reader we have, right, to read efficient, what file reader will read the content as a characters. Okay, but what the buffer reader will do means it will read efficiently, like for every line, okay, line by line. So it's actually the wrapping of the file reader, wrap file reader. Okay, it will wrap the file reader to read the file, okay, effectively line by line, okay, line by line. So we use a buffer reader to read the file effectively line by line. And we have file writer here, okay. So file writer, so same as a file reader will do reads a file content as a characters, and in the file writer it will write the character data to the file. Okay, it will write the character data to a file, to a file. This is a file writer. And same as a buffer reader, we have a buffered writer. Okay, buffer writer, it is also, it will wrap the file writer here in the buffer reader. Okay, in the buffer reader it will wrap the file reader. Okay, now here it will wrap the file writer to write efficiently, to write efficiently. And we have what, yeah, we have the print writer. Okay, we have the print writer where it is useful. Okay, like writing, so we here in our Java we write the system.out.println, right, to print it out the data whatever is in the string. Here we use the print writer, okay, useful for writing text. Okay, useful for writing text. And we already know java.io, we have the scanner here to, like we use a scanner for used for reading content like words and some numbers from the files, whatever the you, if you want to like read the contents from the files. Okay, you need to take the scanner class to read those characters or words or numbers, etc. Okay, reading content like words or numbers or anything, etc. Okay, from files. Now, and these are the classes which are present in the java.io.packages. Okay, now here the important points, like, so whatever the file we want to read or we want to write, their parts can be absolute or the relative parts. Okay, uh, and what we can say, yeah, as I explained yesterday about the try and catch. Okay, so it is important to use the try and catch for handling the input and output exemptions. Okay, exceptions. So to get to know what is exactly happening, if any occurs in these programs, you need to use a try and catch block. That is nothing but exception handling. So if you want to handle the input and output exemptions, okay, exceptions, so you need to use a try and catch blocks compulsory. And when you are reading or writing any file in your program, you must close that file compulsory. So we have a method called as a close. Okay, so you need to compulsory close that file, like to stop the leakages of the files or or use, but you need to close that file to what we can say as now. Um, okay, then let me do some basic operations. Okay, so like how to write and how to create in a file and how to read from that file. Okay, we will see that now. Uh, Let me open my Eclipse. Okay, and one more thing here, I think this is also important. Okay, when you use a file writer, okay, when you use a file writer class and you are writing something here, like see in the file, sorry, here you're writing file dot txt. Okay, file dot txt. By default, when you use file writer or file txt, it will override that file. Okay, if you have written that file in anything, so that will be overrides the file. But if you use the file writer, okay, file writer file dot txt comma true, okay, when you give the true boolean value, it will append that content to the file. Okay, so if the content is present previously, that content will be appends with the new content. So but if you have using this default one, okay, if we have used this default one, and then it will override, okay, it will override the file. It will overwrite the file when you use this default way. Okay, so when you have used this file writer, okay, file writer, file name and the true value, it will append the data with the content, appends content to the file, whatever the file you have, that data will be appended to that content. Okay, so now let me, okay, let me share my screen first, then share something else. I click ready. Now, see, let me create a new file. Okay, let me create in the exception handling itself. Let me create one new class as a write example. Okay, so I'm here writing to create the file and finish. See, here I've taken the right example. Okay, to how to write the, okay, how to create and open some sample document, okay, and how to write strings in that file and how to close that. Okay, I have said right to close, it's very important because to save the data and to leakage, to prevent the leakage of the data. Now see, first what we need to do, first we need to, what I said, to read the data or to write the data, we need to import the java.io classes. Okay, so here, okay, let me import here, import, okay, java.io dot, and we in the io we have the class name known as file, okay, file writer, file writer. I have imported that one, and I said when you are using like when you want to write or read the file data, like by using file ios, you need to use the exceptions, okay, exception handlings. So for that also we have to import java dot io dot io exception, okay, IO exception. I think here we have, yeah, IO exception. So here in our main class, okay, in our main method, I'm using try and catch. Here I am taking the exception type. What is our exception type? IO exception. Okay, IO exception E. So in the catch block, IO exception E. Okay. No. Okay. I want to print the everything our stack race what is happening, and I will print the data with the message, okay, to the user as I am saying, an error occur during, okay, an error occur during it is, yeah, in the writing, okay, an error occur during writing. Now save it, and here first we need to create the object of the file writer. Okay, so now to write the data, okay, or to create the data. So as I said, when you have used, so let me write it here. Writer equals to new object of that class file writer. Okay, so when you have using file writer, okay, file writer with the document name as I will take the sample dot txt, okay, txt. So it will create the file, okay, it will create the file. So we need to write the data in that file. So that is the reason we have using file input output. So now I'm showing how to write to the file, writing to the file. So here we have created the writer of the file writer object, okay. So that writer dot we have the method known as write, okay. Here we have the writ, okay, write. Now inside this I am string or like welcome to the Java file handling. Okay, this is known as a file handling, which is nothing but, okay, I want to write that, and again I want to use the write RIT. This is the text is, yeah, let me this text as this text is written to a return to a file, return to a file. And after this I want that new line, so I am going to use fashion, okay, and the semicolon. Now I want to close this writer dot close, okay. Here we have the method known as writer dot close. So after writing everything, I want to print it out to the user as successfully written in the file. System dot print ln, okay, print ln, and I want to print as a written data written successfully, data written successfully, okay, data written successfully. If I commented this one, okay, this one, now see I am getting exceptions because there is no file input output file classes or anything, so it's giving me the error. Okay, so first what we need to do, we need to create the object of that file writer class, and with the object of that class we can write and read the data. So now we have taken the file writer, okay. So we have created, so let me run this one, so you will see it's creating. Oh my god, sorry. some application. So it's saying as data written successfully. Okay, so this is how we need to now see. Here we use a file writer. Okay, now what we need, now what we want to, you understand this program, right? First we created and opened that file. Okay, it's create or it will opens that sample.txt if it is present. Okay, if it is doesn't present in our device, okay, it will create it, and then it will write the write method will, it will write the strings to the our file, and we use a close method which is mandatory. Now we need to read that file. Okay, so one second. Section and right action. One second. This. 1 second, guys. Sorry. Yeah, where are we now? See, here we have created that file because we didn't created that file in our disk. Then after creating, we are writing the string into that file by using the write method by object of the file writer method. Okay, now after successfully, it was data written successfully. Okay, let me show you that one first. Okay, let me refresh this. Now see, here we have the sample text. Okay, here we have the sample text. So let me open this and see. It was welcome to the Java file handling, and this is the text written to the file. So in our write.exam, okay, the write.exam, first we created that. Again we will run this program and we will see what it's doing. So in, sorry, I think I'm sharing the notepad. 1 second. Okay, see, here we have the sample.text. So here it has written the string in that file, sample.txt file. So now, as I explained in the, by default I have used the file writer and file text name. So if you use the file writer text name and the true, then it will append the content. If you didn't use that boolean value true, it will override the everything. It will override this everything. See, just let me see, this is, I will write it as a topic. Okay, topic 2, so that you can see that is overwriting. Okay, so let me run this again and we will see what it's happening. Java application. See, data is written successfully, but here we have used the default method, okay, file writer to create the file, but actually we have the sample.txt. Okay, let me open this. See, here, whatever the data which was previously there in this file, that was overwritten by this topic 2. Okay, topic 2, welcome to the Java file handling. The text is written to the file. Okay, so if you have used here sample.txt comma true, okay, so let me run this again and let me give this heading as a topic 3. Let's save it and let me run this. Okay, Java application data written successfully and open the sample text. See, after topic 2, the data was appended to that file. Okay, so if you have created the file previously only, then you need to use a boolean value, as we are saying that we have the content in the file, so don't overwrite the values. Okay, don't overwrite the data, but append that data. So if you are creating a new file, you can use a direct default method, but if you have the data in that file and you want to add something to that file, so you need to use this true, okay, boolean. So this is how we need to write the data. Now we will see how to read the data. Okay, let me create one more class here, new class as read example. Select public static void main. Now, to read the data, we need to, like, if you want to read the character by character, you can import the file reader. Okay, you can import the file java.io dot file reader. Okay, this is a file reader, and we have, if you want to read the line by line, okay, so you can import java.buffer, okay, buffer reader, buffer reader, and to handle the exceptions, you have to import java.io.io exception, and we imported 3. Now what we need to use a try, okay, catch. And what is our exceptions? We are expecting IO exceptions. So you can use a IO exceptions and E, okay, IO exception E, and we have to print the message out dot print ln as error reading file. While reading the file, we are getting the error. Mm, and we can print the strike rates also. If you want the detailed explanation of the error, you can take care of this. Now what we need to do, we need to read the data. Okay, so I'm taking the buffer reader here, so I need to create the object of the class, okay, buffer reader class as a reader, okay, with a new keyword buffer reader, and we need to, okay, so we need to give the file reader. Okay, need to create that file reader of, so what I said, actually buffer reader will wrap the file reader, right? So you, when you have to read the file, so you need to wrap that file reader content. So character, actually the file reader here, let me take new and the file reader, okay, that file reader will read that sample.txt by character, then that will wrap through the buffer reader by using the reader object of that. Okay, so we can read the line by line. Okay, so let me take one string as a line. Okay, this is a string. Okay, while I'm taking the while, I'm just looping everything, like line equals to reader dot, we have the method known as a read line. Okay, we have a method known as a read line. Okay, when buffer reader will read line by line. Okay, so read line will returns null when file will comes to the end. Okay, so we need to check whether it's if the file contains more content after reading, after looping each line. Okay, so the buffer reader will read, right? So that will give you the, this read line will give you the null value when it is, when it comes to the end of the file. So we need to give the condition while line equals to reader object dot read line is not equals to null. If it is not equals to null, then we need to print what is present at that line. System dot out dot print ln, sorry, print ln of that line. Okay, we are taking that string. We need to print the each line. Okay, so we need to read the each line. So to read, that reader will read and it will print it on the output. So after reading everything, okay, it will become null. So then we need to close that reader dot close method. Okay, reader dot close method. You must close every stream, okay, file, either writing or reading, so to avoid the resource leak or for errors. Okay, now understand, right? Buffer reader, why we use a file reader? The file reader will read the every character of that file, and buffer reader will wrap that file reader to read the line by line. Okay, so when the buffer reader reads the line by line, okay, by method of the reader line, okay, by the method of the reader line. So here line equals to, I had taken the string line, and that equals to reader dot read line. Okay, reader dot read line. When this line becomes null, then we need to come out of that loop and we need to close that. But if that line is not equals to null, then only it will print the each line of that program. Okay, let me run this program once. Run as Java application. See it printing exact whatever is present in our sample dot text. Okay, so let me remove this everything and welcome to the file handling class. Okay, welcome to the file handling class. Let me save it and let me run that read exam program once again. Okay, run as Java application. See it giving you welcome to the file handling class. So this is how we need to write the data, and we need to read the data. And same as appending I already explained in the right exam itself. So when you are creating the file, okay, so you have to use the true. Okay, that will be activate the append mode. So it will activate and it will write, it will add the data in the new lines. So if you want to know the file properties, you can we have the file class. Okay, I explained, I have written in the notepad also. Okay, one second, let me share that notepad now. See here, we have the file, so it will represent the file or a directory path name. So when you want to know that file name or file path, okay, you can import that file class, and in the file class we have the methods known as like get name, get absolute path, get relative path, and whatever, right? Okay, it is is the file is writable or not. Okay, with the method of can write or can read. What is the file length? Okay, let me write it. Okay, let me do that example now so that you can do that here. Okay, see, let me do it here itself. Okay, let me comment out this and here. Okay, so here first we need to import that file. Okay, import dot java dot io dot file. Okay, io dot file. So here we need to create the object of that file as a file f1 equals to new file of, okay, new file of whatever the file name sample dot txt. Okay, sample dot sample.txt. So we need the properties of this sample.txt. Okay, so now I'm giving we need to check whether the file is exists or not. The file is exists or not. So I'm taking one condition f1 dot exist. Okay, here see it returning the true or false. So if condition will check whether the condition is true or false. If the condition is true, then it will go and execute that block. So if the condition is false, so we need to print it out the error as system dot println, and we need to say the user as file doesn't exist, right? File does not exist. Okay, file does not exist. Semicolon. So if the file exists, we need to know the properties, or we need the name of that properties. Okay, system dot out dot println. So what we get? Okay, we want the file name. Okay, if you want the file name, so you can use that f1 dot get name. Okay, get the name, so that it will give you the file name. And if you want the path of that, okay, path of that file, so f1 dot, okay, f1 dot get absolute, okay, get absolute path. And if you want the size, okay, so the size it will give you in the bytes, I think. Okay, so f1 dot f1 dot, so 1 second, f1 dot length. Yeah, here we have the f1 dot length. And is it writable file or not? Okay, writable file or not. So it will give you the booleans. Okay, so f1 dot can read or write. Okay, can read or write, just same as this. We will check with readable or not, readable or not. So here dot can read. Okay, so here read or not. So let me run this and we'll see what is properties and what is a file names of sorry. Okay. You see, our file name is sample.txt. It was saved in my C driver, Java desktop, Java shop, demo project sample.txt, and the size is 30 bytes, and it is readable and it is also writable. Okay, so these are the properties. By the help of the file class, you can get the all the file details. Okay, if you want to delete that file, okay, you can use the same file dot delete method. So here itself you can delete that method by using simple method like here. You can delete it by directly like f1 Okay, f1 dot delete method. Okay, see here we have the delete method, so it will directly delete the file. Okay, it will directly delete the file. Okay, let me run this once again. Java application, see it giving the all the properties. Okay, now we at the last we have deleted that file. Okay, let me run this again, whether it's give you the file name path or not, because here we have used the condition the file exists or not. So if now the file is doesn't exist because at the last we have deleted that file, so we need the message here as file doesn't exist. So let me run this again. So Java application, see here it giving our message as file does not exist because in the previous run we have deleted our file. So this is about the file handling, like input and output. So today's class, so the major exception here is file not found exception. So when you use the exceptions file not found, and you can use IO exceptions if there are any input and output errors, and for security reasons also, if the file has any permissions like secret code for that file, okay, you will get the security exemptions. So this is about today's class. Okay, file input and output. And if you have any doubts regarding anything, okay, you can just ping me in the WhatsApp, or you can attend the class and you can ask me the questions, or you can just text a message in the chat box. Okay, and I think tomorrow is the last class because we are completing with our topics, like last topic as a trading. So we will see last class tomorrow, 30th. Okay, and thank you Asima or Asim for attending the class. Okay, if you have any doubts you can ask me now. Okay. Okay, thank you. I'm assuming as there is no doubts.